Hello again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, welcome back to my YouTube channel, whether you are a new person or someone who already subscribed on my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another video. So it's a video about self-love. But of course, it's that kind of self-love that a lot of people view it as selfish. But is it selfish? No. So I'm just gonna make another video about I decided to put myself first and say no to a lot of shit because whoa. So yes, so this video is about putting yourself first and saying no. So thank you guys for liking, for subscribing on my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another video, as I said. So this video is about putting yourself first. Is putting yourself first selfish, as people say? No, it's not selfish. A lot of people like to benefit from people who don't put themselves first, because you know what, they can tell that you are actually a giver. They can tell that you actually can because of your energy, they can tell that you're actually a genuine person. So when you struggling with putting yourself first, people benefit from that in a bad way, because it takes a lot from you, probably your mental health. We end up suffering physically, mentally, spiritual, as well as emotionally, because you giving yourself more and more and more. You think that it's okay. So I'm just gonna talk in a more way that anyone who's watching this, they can gain something from it. So when you are actually starting to put yourself first, a lot of things, a lot of good things will start happening in yourself. So like for example, I would used to struggle with putting myself first, because every time when I see someone going through something, uh, I never want to see other people going through pain alone, because I know how it feels like to be alone, to be miserable, to be having no one in your corner. So it's something that I used to be scared of. Okay, like it used to make me anxious, make me not feel good when I see another person going through things alone, with no support, with no nothing. So most of the time, because I was wounded as myself, so putting myself first, it used to be something that I am scared of doing, or even I was not even aware that I actually struggling with putting myself first. So what I'm gonna say about people who are struggling with putting themselves first, it's usually because they are scared of what other people gonna say about them. They care more about other people's opinion instead of their own opinion. So how I'm gonna put myself first? You should start uh, being aware that you actually struggling with low self-esteem. And when you're struggling with low self-esteem, you end up internalizing the fact that when you're saying no to individuals, to saying no to whatever there is, for example, you're going out with your friend and probably you are on a street diet, you decided to go healthy, you decided to exercise, and then when you are in that, okay, whatever that, whether it's a party, whether it's whatever that it might be that we're actually invited into, and then whatever that friend, like that, whether it's a friend or someone that you just met, is offering you something, and then you know that it's not good for you, probably you even have lactose intolerant, and then you'll be like, hey, pleasing them, it's okay, but you know that you're gonna going through, you're gonna go to toilet more than 5 times, if even, because you are actually tolerating whatever. Now you're drinking because you feel like you are just, you're gonna be a party pooper, because now you know what alcohol does to you, because you don't want to be look like someone um who's actually boring and whatsoever, and then you end up drinking glass of wine, whether it's a beer or whatsoever, in your own expense, in your own healthy. So putting yourself first is not selfish as most people view it. So people actually, a lot of people, especially toxic people, benefit from people who actually not putting themselves first, because they know that whenever that they're actually struggling with something, they end up taking advantage of you in terms of healing, doing their emotional work for them, because they know that you're gonna do anything. When you're actually struggling with putting yourself first, you're gonna attract, okay, everyone attracts a lot of individual, different individual, uh, healthy individual, toxic individual. But most of the time, if you're struggling to put yourself first, you're gonna be a target for a narcissistic people, you're gonna be a target for toxic people, you're gonna be a target for people who actually have narcissistic tendency. So what they can tell, they can study you from a distance, the way you act, because you might even not aware that you're actually a giver. You keep on giving other people. We, of course, because toxic people, they don't have any boundaries about uh, that. You know what, I've taken a lot from this person, I need, it's time for me to give. They benefit from that. So when you're actually putting yourself first, it's another way, it's self-love, it's not selfish. Don't allow other people to try to guilty trip you in order to be able to constantly giving to them. There's nothing wrong with, you know what, I am not okay with this. So struggling with saying no, it's something that I used to have. So I'm just not gonna say it's an easy journey. It's still a journey, because yes, I say a lot of things no without feeling guilty now. But sometimes I find myself feeling guilty, like I should have helped this bit. But at the same time, I know that, you know what, it's not a time for me to help someone. You know, a lot of people who are actually toxic, when you are saying no to them, they're always gonna try to guilty trip you. Not only just guilty trip you, they're always gonna give a silent treatment, because what you are refusing them. They forget that you're actually a human being who need to put them, who need to pay much attention to her health, whether it's emotionally, mentally, spiritually health. So what do? They they gain from you, they gain from whatsoever. When you start setting boundaries, if you actually struggling with putting yourself first, setting boundaries, it's something that you should be, it's something that you should be okay with. It's not selfish setting boundaries. It's a first step of putting yourself first. Set boundaries, because a lot of people, if you're actually a giver, takers don't have um they don't have limit. They take and take and take to the point that you are actually dry. That's how they are. That's how they operate. They don't give a fuck about you. If you're actually feeling like, oh, setting boundaries is hard. Yeah, setting boundaries is hard. Talking about you, you need to communicate with people who are around you. Like, you know what? I'm not okay with when you do that and do that. Talk about your emotional boundaries. Talk about your mentally boundaries. Talk about your physical boundaries. There are actually a lot of boundaries that you can establish when you're actually dealing with. Boundaries are not for only toxic people. You can set boundaries with also healthy people too, because you actually, when you said, for example, you know what, at 9 I don't take any calls, I don't take anything. So you probably, to the group of friends or family, you actually emphasizing that you actually don't take calls when it's 9 p.m. You don't take calls. It, like for example, you have a time boundary, like you don't take calls after 9 a.m. I mean before 9 a.m. as well as 9 after 9 p.m. no more calls. It's your boundaries, unless if it's necessary, because anything can happen to your loved ones at night. You know, they can go through some terrible probably accident or anything. So that is actually understandable. So you setting boundaries with them, like, you know what, you don't have to call me after this and that. You're supposed to communicate your need. If people are actually offended by your boundaries, those people are actually not deserving you. They don't deserve your fucking energy. They don't, because they gain from that broken self that you actually are. So boundaries actually vary. They're not just emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They actually a lot of boundaries. Example, anything that is in secondly, when you're saying no and prioritizing yourself, um okay, I'm talking, you talk about boundaries, secondly, two, okay, a lot of people who are actually struggling with saying no and prioritizing themselves is because they are scared of judgment from the people that are actually around them. So secondly, why do you care about being judged to the point that you overgive to yourself, you overgive and overgive to others? So being, you're always gonna get judged, whether you're doing good or bad. People always gonna have something to say to you, whether it's um whatever that it might be, because people will always have something to say. So when you stop living your life because you are scared of people's opinion, scared what people gonna say, that's when a lot of things will start to happen, good things will happen for you. Because now you are in a place where you actually, you know what, you are breaking out from that closet, you are breaking out from that corner that people's opinion push you through. Because whenever you're doing something, people will always gonna try to put you in a box, and you're supposed to shove that box to back to them. Because honestly, you don't deserve to be boxed. No individual actually deserve to be boxed. No individual is supposed to get being guilty trip for taking care of themselves, because a lot of people would do that. Because I remember when one of my ex, um we actually had to go out with one of the girls, and it was something like a formal function. And then my partner at that time, it was extremely toxic. So at that time I knew it was toxic, but you know, I was still in that lake mentality that um he will change, I'm supposed to wait, he will change, he will come around, you know. He guilty trip me because I went out with my friends. Mind you, he never took me out. When I asked him, he always may come up with excuse. But now he was trying to control me. He was trying to control who I actually go out with. Like, you know, that kind of toxic. He guilty treat me. Not only that, he gave me silent treatment. So what I'm saying is, you shouldn't bother. It's gonna be hard because you care about other people, but it's important to learn about emotional abuse, mentally abuse, spiritually abuse, because people can do that. Thirdly, okay, first I said set boundaries, be mindful of not being guilt tripped, and not being guilty tripped by toxic individuals, as well as don't give a fuck about people's judgment, living in their own fucking opinion. Okay, the reason about putting yourself first, um oh my god, I forgot that. So but what I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna talk about the fact that, okay, when people are actually loving you, they're gonna love you with your boundaries. You know, when people love you for who you are, they're gonna love you with your boundaries. Instead, they're gonna cheer you up, that you are actually finally, you are actually loving yourself, you know. So when you're setting your boundaries, people are bitter because you're setting boundaries now. Now you are actually you know, you are in your power, you are in your you are in your, okay, of course, in your empress energy, in your king energy, queen energy. So a lot of people who actually genuinely care about you, because they gonna love you with your actually boundaries, because they can tell now you're operating from a abundant space, you are operating from a place of love. Because now when you actually loving yourself, people around you can tell. When you are actually loving yourself, a lot of things that you actually love, it's gonna come back to you. Because at the end of the day, it's about putting yourself first. When you're putting yourself, you are actually saying to the universe, I am ready for what is mine, I'm actually ready for whatsoever. So loving yourself is not just about self-love, going for and exercising, eating healthy. It's part of it, but it's not only self-love is a broad way of actually loving yourself. Doing a career that you actually love, letting go of toxic family members, letting go of toxic friendship, letting go of toxic partners, letting go of toxic beliefs, letting go of toxic what so toxic ways of living, toxic pattern that actually make you being the target or being the entertainer of toxic ways, letting go of your own addiction. You know, people who actually love you, they're gonna love you with your boundaries. You know, don't be afraid to say no to certain things that you're actually not. When you say you're on a diet, what your friends be like, okay, they're gonna accommodate you. If they don't accommodate you, why are you even there? You know, when you say telling your friends that your mental health is declining, so I won't be available for this particular time whatsoever, but I will come back. Probably I need a break for 2 weeks. Your friends will support you, your loved ones will support you, because probably you were working, you were fucking a workaholic, and now you are in this place where you be like, you know what, I need to take break, I need to shut down from my social media. Probably you're gonna find another way of telling them that, you know what, now I'm back again. You, because they care about you. So when you feel like, every time you feel like, I'm scared people are gonna say like this and that because they're gonna judge me, just think about the bad point. People who actually genuinely care about you, they're gonna care about your own healthy, not the other way around. So don't allow people to try to guilty trip you in whatever. So saying no is hard, yes, especially if you've never been taught about boundaries, if you've never been taught about speaking out, speaking about your own needs. People will never meet you if you're not communicating your needs. But if people are offended by your actual needs, in terms of the especially needs that are actually basic, the human decency, and especially your love language, why are you even there? Why do you care about people who actually don't give a fuck about you? Because putting yourself first ain't gonna make it a lot. I'm just gonna tell you what putting myself, because I started putting myself first at 21. And you know what, a lot of things happen, like a lot of things I realized. Actually, I have a lot of time to do things that I actually love. I actually have a lot of time to, you know, a lot of time to read books, because I was constantly out there giving people, helping people. I was out there being having actually energy vampires taking the energy out of me, and you feel like feeling drained. When you actually are around the energy vampires, what they do, they drain the energy